Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and welcome to episode 9 of Mario's Minute. In case you do not know, this is a monthly podcast that I do here on the channel, and it is the second podcast I do. The first one I do is Mod Chat. That is every single month, of course, and it is more a live-streamed one as well, too, but also a podcast at the same time that I do with my friend and co-host, Paranoid Coder, otherwise known as Devin. However, this podcast is kind of just random stuff, personal things that are going on in my life, and really whatever the hell I want to talk about. The thing I like to compare it to, it's kind of like what commentaries were on YouTube in 2011, 2012, just in a really long version, which, I mean, commentaries were essentially just shorter versions of podcasts back in the day, so kind of coming full circle here, I guess. Anyways, this episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm finally getting a guest back on here, and hopefully with some listeners who were mainly in the 360 modding scene years and years ago, the name might seem a little bit familiar, but who the hell do I have here with me?
I don't know. It might go by the name of Lupo. iTzLuPo. You know me. I got banned from the pro back in the day. I don't really care. It's just I'm here. We're here. It's we're doing our thing. So what's up, man?
Not a whole lot. I could tell you're a little bit excited, or you just had like 12 cups of coffee.
Probably a combination of both. Probably
Okay.
a little bit intimidated by just me knowing you from back in the day, and you like blowing up and becoming like the guy now in the scene. So it's kind of like cool.
I think you're giving me a little bit too much credit. I don't think I'm that dude in the scene, but I have I mean, honestly, if you kept going with your channel, you would have still been above me, but I know you stopped. When did you stop producing content like regularly on your
Late
channel?
2013. I had a
Okay.
bunch of business ventures I dived into, and it's just like when you start going into that, your time's really consumed, and it's like you can either do A or B, but not both at once. A being YouTube, B business. And it's like if you want one to work out, you can't have the other work out. So obviously YouTube kind of came to a crawling halt at that point. I mean, I'll get back into it at one point. Like, I have all the tools there. I even have my old YouTube partner manager there. They all have me on standby. So like the second I want to like hop back into that, like I'm more than ready to go.
Mm-hmm. You should definitely do that. I know there's been several times where, like, you hit me up in the DMs. You're like, dude, I'm ready to come back. I'm about to do this. I'm like, yes, you
Dude,
should.
I want to so bad. It's just like there's so much. It's like I get over one hurdle and it's like 38 more pop up, and it's just like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. So, I don't know, the funny thing was with this as well, too, like, initially, I mean, because when I had started, I know you were kind of like that dude with the Xbox 360 modding stuff, and I thought your videos were amazing, and I was, like, doing some of the stuff you were doing, like, we had a lot of overlapping stuff, but then I started doing my thing, and it's, you know, like, the problem is with tutorial content, you have a slow growth because so much of it is hit and run traffic, where people come, they look for the video, they watch it, they leave. They don't stick around afterwards. But I know I was shocked when, like, you had subscribed to me, you had reached out initially, and I don't know, the funny thing is, like, we've kept in contact over these years, like, we've been good friends, but I was thinking this, and I might have mentioned it, like, when we were talking, like, leading up and scheduling this, but I'm just like, you know, it's funny, we're, like, finally getting a collab now, but it's, like, years past all of this stuff.
Oh yeah, but like, dude, it's like obvious from back in the day when I originally reached out. I knew you were gonna eventually reach the point where you're at, because like to get to where you're at, like you gotta have the consistency and the drive to like deliver what people want to see, and in a manner that's easy to understand. And not everyone has that talent, so like you can go look through your DMs. Like from the very beginning, I'm like, dude, you're gonna blow up one day, and I'm glad to see that like you actually are right now, because you've worked super hard to get to where you're at, because I see week after week after week of you grinding videos out that are consistent. They're very easy to understand, and people just overall like them. So, you know, it is no surprise to where you are at these days.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I know that the channel's definitely had ups and lows, like ups and downs and everything, but it's been a fun venture getting to this point. And here it's like, there's also kind of there's this twist of fate to it as well, where some people are just like, oh, I want to, in short, some people are like, oh, you should have more subscribers, or you should have 1 million subscribers. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I don't want that much responsibility. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, because most people are like, oh, well, if you hit that amount, like you should have way more. But like honestly, like what you were saying like 10 seconds ago, like with the hit and go traffic, like that is dead on accurate. People that do tutorials, it's like people that are looking for a certain video, they hit it and then they run, you'll have a flood of traffic. But I'm glad to see that like you're starting to grow out into just a broader audience and just that at the moment. And I think that'll really take you somewhere interesting.
For sure. I do know, kind of spoiler alert, the next like couple months or so are going to be pretty tutorial heavy, but it's going to be some, you know, some stuff that's been really asked for and everything. But I do have also a lot of stuff in the works that is going to be still the edutainment and things that people are coming for, not just the tutorial stuff. So we'll see what's going on.
Dude, it's crazy the past couple years where it's taken me. It's like, I could tell you stories for days. Like, you've had your YouTube run for the past couple of years now, but like just out in the real world, like I'll give you an example. Like back in 2013 when I first started this out, like on web like ventures, like I have a friend Dylan, and he ran like the world's biggest Minecraft servers and sites. And he still does. He's just like Leafy now or something. And I have a friend Ian. He's like,
well, hold on. But by Leafy, do you mean like he did the type of content that Leafy was doing, or he just completely disappeared, but he has stuff?
Oh no, he moved in with Leafy. He was like his roommate.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wow, like
are we breaking news on this podcast? All right.
I mean, there's no one out there really knows that. Like, congratulations. There you go. You can title that Leafy Moves In.
All right, cool. So, somebody obscure will find this video and then, like, snip this out and clickbait it, I guess. But, yeah.
No, you can go look it up. They have, like, I guess they got into, like, it with their tenants and, like, they're being kicked out. It's like, Dylan, I'm not going to say it. But, like,
all right.
There's enough proof out there to prove it. But,
No, I got you.
But it's like a small world because I have a friend, Ian, who doesn't know who Dylan is. And like Ian has a friend that was selling a Minecraft site for $28,000, and then Dylan bought it, and because we were at dinner, and Ian's like, "Oh my god, my friend's website just sold," and he's like, he sold it to some kid in Tennessee for this much money. I'm like, is this first name Dylan? I'm like, there's no way this is happening. It's like such a small world, dude. It's like, how does that even work?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I haven't had anything big like that happen for me. It's been more, I've had I've met some people who've been fans of the channel offline and such. That's actually funny enough how I met my co-host on my other podcast, Mod Chat. He was just, I didn't know who he was. He just kind of, he knew I was kind of close to him, like locale wise. And he messaged me. He seemed like an okay guy, so we kind of messaged. We moved to Twitter. We were DMing back and forth. And then, like, again, this guy was literally a nobody on the channel to the point where now he's one of my best friends, and we're on this podcast together. So just, like, stuff like that I love.
Dude, that's awesome when stuff like that happens because it's, like, it makes you think for a second, like, dang, if I just slow down for a second, like, things can really take you to a place, like, where you never thought they'd go.
Yep. I've had, at this point now, I kind of mentioned it as well, I think on Twitter or something, but at this point, I've now had friends, family, and coworkers all somehow organically find my channel. Like, I don't mention it, but at one point, just like in the near future, like a few days after they find it, they hit me up, they're like, hey, I think I found your channel. Do you do this YouTube thing? And normally I lie and I say no because I try and keep a little bit low key. I'm just like, nah, it's not me. And then when they keep talking with me and like if they're cool, I'm just like, yeah, that's me. What's up?
Dude, that reminds me like 3 years ago. You don't have to say it out loud, but like I was testing like a small little marketing thing and like you found the channel. I'm like, oh no.
I remember
like,
that.
You don't have to say it, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I remember.
That's where I was like, oh, I gotta get like voiceovers from here on out and not me on the actual track because it's like, dude, if people find that out, it's like, no.
I wasn't the first person to find that though.
You were?
I was not. No,
you had to have been.
No, I was one of the first people. I wasn't the first person.
Dude, there's no way. And if, for people listening, I'll just say it. It was just like me experimenting with like affiliate marketing for, let's just say, before like all this vaping and like hookah became popular. I was like, all right, I saw this trend starting to emerge, so I made like a small little collaborative effort vaping like a hookah channel before like that became popular, so made money on that. But like somehow Mario found it and he was like, wait, is that Lupo? So yeah.
Yeah, no, and funny enough, I just found out I wasn't even looking for that stuff. I think there was, so this is how I know I wasn't the first person. There was somebody who had a comment, and I think either like so they had screenshot it or you had screenshotted it, and it just said LOL iTzLuPo and it had a question mark. I literally just looked that comment up, the context of that comment up in a quoted Google search, and then I found your video from there, and I was like, wait, this is you.
Yeah, dude, it's funny how the internet works. It's like you think it's like such a big world, but it's really not.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
There's only a few key players really turning this thing around. I won't name who, but like if you keep seeing them up and up all the time, it's like those are the people.
Yep. Yeah, good stuff.
So what do you have planned out for your channel in the future here? I know you got a lot of stuff going on, but like honestly, when I'm like bored at night, I'll just put some of your content on and just like watch. It's really fun.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, right now, again, I've just been wanting to hammer out a ton of tutorials. I've been doing that. I do have a pretty neat product review, in my opinion, that's going to be coming out. Let me check, because for everyone, just for the record, we're filming this or recording this kind of early in September right now. Just a few days after, so this is going to come out on the 26th. On the 29th, I do have a interesting product review that I really liked that I'm going to be dropping, and another video related to that. Honestly, I'll tell you what my problem is, though. My problem is I have several ideas that I want to tackle, and not only that, but I have like videos where I've seen these ideas through to the end, recorded all the raw footage, and just sitting on my drive. And I could honestly probably, aside from my podcasts, not produce any content for a few months and just churn out my backlog. But when I do that, I get really antsy and uncomfortable because I'm not consistently recording stuff. So I constantly have things that I'm adding onto the pile.
Well, it sounds like you've got your work cut out for you then, man.
I guess. I don't know. But yeah, no, mainly it's going to be, I don't like to normally drop what I'm, like, name drop what I'm putting out or anything. But I do have, you know, console overviews, modification overviews, more edutainment stuff, as I said, but also then a lot more tutorials coming out with the Bando. So it'll be a good old time.
Dude, you know what's surprising? Speaking in terms of just tutorials and modding, I know this shouldn't be, like, surprising, but, like, how crazy like Microsoft sealed up the Xbox One. There's been like 0 exploits at this point, still years after release.
So I don't want to get into all the details on that, and like I don't know anything behind the scenes on that. Like it could be fully exploited and I just don't know. The main thing is though, their security team got completely beefed up. And not only that, but all their consoles phone home consistently, especially their dev kits and all that. But no, you know how back in the original Xbox in the 360 days, dev kits were just like all over the place, like it was the Wild West?
Yes.
Yeah, that shit got locked down now. So if you have like, for example, just look around like on 7sense, for example, and just countless stories of people who have a kit and then they ask a question or two that they shouldn't be asking and they get a knock on their door.
Can you still hear me? Mario.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yes, dude, I know exactly what you're talking about that because I won't name who, but Microsoft has a pretty good private eye for private investigators of figuring out like who shouldn't have anything.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me of a story. He probably won't be listening, but like he got his hands on some private Microsoft, well, not Microsoft, but Black Ops stuff. It wasn't going to be, it might have been named Project Acid. It might not have.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
I probably have an idea of it, but I'm not going to name a name.
And the second that Activision found that out, they sent a private investigator to his house to be like, yeah, you're not going to be doing this, Chief. So they took everything he had.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting how they have that laid down now.
Oh yeah, no, they go hard with that. I know I think it was like Call of Duty World War II. It wasn't any modding related stuff, but one dude in my Discord, and I'll just say, you know who you are if you're listening. Shout out to you. I just don't want to drop his name. But he got the game like a week or two early and was playing with it and was putting up screenshots, and he got a cease and desist straight up from Activision.
Yeah, dude, they don't play. They don't want any of their stuff leaked anymore. They've had it. It's like the mad soccer mom named Betty. She's like, I've given you all 3 warnings. The 4th time I'm turning this van around, and sure enough, like, dude, they are turning their van around and they're not playing anymore.
Oh, man. I know you messed... One thing I was going to ask you, I know you messed around with the 360 primarily, but were you ever into the original Xbox at all?
Actually, yes. Very, very late into its run.
All right.
Like near the end of its life cycle, I was.
Okay. What all did you do on that?
Just some Halo 2, original Halo stuff. It wasn't anything too crazy. Just trying to figure out like how things worked.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was that period of dormancy in which Xbox was released, really up until 08, late 09, when won't go exactly into detail, but some serious exploits were released, and that really brought on the whole modding scene forward. Because in late 2008, early 09, it was like, yeah, you're not going to run unsigned code on a 360, and just coincidentally, like 5 months later, we were. So,
yeah,
you know, things kind of evolved out from there.
Yeah,
but I think Microsoft learned their lesson, dude. It is so, like, let me just say this: the security they've implemented on the Xbox One, even if there was an exploit of some sort, even if someone figured it out, like they could shut it down just like that, like the split of a second. They know who's doing what, where, and how. And all they need to do is issue like a really fast system update and it'd completely fix it. Mm-hmm. It's not happening again, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't know if you'd heard about this. I want to come back to the OG Xbox stuff in a bit, but I don't know if you heard about this, but I think it was like within a year or two of the Xbox One being launched, there was some rumors of essentially pirated game methods coming out of Brazil where you could send your Xbox there, and for like, it was like $100. They would modify your Xbox somehow and add like 10 games to it of your choice. And it was essentially something to do with like licensing and NAND dumps and what have you. But there was like some rumors going around of that. And there was, I think, some confirmations here and there. But Microsoft went out of their way to shut down an operation like that was going on in Brazil, of all places.
I wouldn't doubt that was going on, but that sounds more like a licensing exploit to me at that point, because obviously if you have to send it off, 1, you're sending physical hardware out, 2, so they can perform the operation on your hardware that they have the original, let's just say, dump or build for, that they're going to put it onto your hardware. So obviously there is an exploit somewhere along the lines of the actual licensing of that software being needed. Otherwise it would just be able to be done, you know, like, hey, send me what I need to do this to my Xbox. Otherwise they had a very specific scenario in which they found out that they could use for the time being, however they did it. I wouldn't doubt if it was a scam at that point, even because $100 isn't really a lot for what that sounds like it's offering.
The thing is, though, Max, you got to realize that that's also in Brazil. So I mean, the pirated game market is huge over there. They thrive off that stuff because originals and especially hardware are so expensive.
That's what I'm saying. They could have charged like way more for what they're doing, and 100 is kind of like borderline, like really cheap. I mean, if they were doing it, like, congratulations, but like.
But I mean, that's how they put it out. I mean, it's a brand new, because I've seen this with other consoles as well too, in other places, but not with the Xbox One, have you? But it's just, yeah, you get the system, so you already have to get it yourself, and then it's going to be, they have to perform whatever services they are, and then at that point, you know, they're pretty much saying, hey, we're going to include in 10 games, so instead of paying $60 per game, you're going to be paying $10 per game here. So I feel like that is a realistic price point at that. Because, I mean, that's how they do it
I feel you on that.
in other places. Like, I mean, it's been a while since I've been there, but I've been to Jordan, like in the Middle East, several times. And I mean, there, like, for example, with PS2s, That was the big
Oh
one.
no, it's crazy out there, dude. They can offer a lot for dirt cheap.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the PS2's there. You'd buy a brand new one, and it was already opened up, chipped, and put back in the box. But a pre-modded system was like was $300 there when they were $100 here. However, you pay $300 for the system with a chip in it. You're paying $1 per game.
Yeah, you're really paying for quantity value versus, hey, if you have it over here in the States and you don't have that preloaded stuff, you're missing out on a bunch. So I get where you're coming from with that.
Right. Yeah, no, one thing I was going to say, I would recommend checking this out, but I know you were saying that, like, you didn't do anything crazy with the original Xbox stuff. One thing that is crazy, just for fun, look up on eBay Xecuter 3 or X3 and see how much just a mod chip sells for.
Oh, dude. I bet I'm probably going to be surprised and a little bit offended at the same time.
All right, I'll wait.
For the original Xbox, right?
Yeah, just like look up X3 or Xecuter 3.
All right.
I'll let you type on the mic. It's all good. I know you're trying. I know you're trying to be conscious of it.
Really? $300 for this?
Yeah.
For the original Xbox?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I looked at some
400?
I looked at some way back. Oh, it sounds like the $400 one. Are you looking at one that's like a pre-modded system?
No, dude.
Oh,
it's
just the chip,
genuine...
like a brand new chip.
Yeah, I'll link it you with.
Yeah, no. So the crazy thing is with that, I don't know if those ones are selling, but like, I was upset. I was disappointed by whoever the hell did this. But yeah, here we go. All right, so here's this one. It hasn't sold yet. So for anybody who's like who's interested here, $400 for a brand new Xecuter 3 chip. Now this chip, I looked it up on the site the other night. Like back in the day, so maybe like 10 years ago or so, you could have picked this chip up brand new for $60.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. This is like a ridiculous turnaround. All you have to do is sit on these for like 10 years. If you bought like 1,000 of these, dude, you can control the whole market.
And the thing is, they're not even rare. Because I've talked with one MVG. I was talking with him about this. Shout out Modern Vintage Gamer. But I showed him some of this stuff, and I was like, were these rare? Because everyone says they're rare now. And he's like, no, they're not. Like, everyone had them, and they were really easy to find.
Yeah, dude, that was the thing to do back in like the end of the Xbox's run. Like, dude, it was very common to see like just normal Xboxes just with this in it, and like you can do whatever you want. Like
exactly. Yeah, no, the thing is with this, so this one is probably not going to sell at that price, but I have seen them completed listings sold for like $150, $180.
I wouldn't doubt that he gets like a best offer for like 205 or something crazy like that. That is ridiculous.
Oh,
dude.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's weird. It's not rare. It's not hard to find. The main problem is it's not in production anymore. And then coming from that, it's like, all right, how many people are going to know specifically they have an X3 installed in their system? Or how many will really care? Or how many are going to open up their Xbox and take out the X3 and then sell it for parts? Not that many people. Because there's other chips, like for example, any like the Clone 360 chips or any PS2 mod chips, those are still in production right now, so you can get them readily for cheap. But anything that you can't get, it's not that it's rare, it's just you can't get a hold of it readily anymore. It's this weird equilibrium.
It seems like these are being marketed as rare, but they're not actually rare.
Yeah, they're not rare, and out of the original Xbox chips, they're probably some of the more valuable ones, but I think the real... because there's so many other chips that can do this, and you can also TSOT flash your system, but I think the real magic with this is the BIOS on there, and I believe that it's just... I think they have like a 2 megabyte BIOS on them, and that's what works on the X3. And one person I know, shout out Dark Gabs, he actually worked on porting that BIOS to original Xboxes, just like you can TSOT flash them and stuff. But the thing is, it's essentially, it's stripped down because you don't have, the control panel, you don't have any of the extra stuff, you don't have the actual physical chip hardware right there. So you can run the BIOS on your system itself, but it's a proof of concept at that point because you can't do any of the stuff that this chip was marketed for. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow, that sounds...
Yeah, and I think
I would like to see that. That would be something of my interest.
yeah, I know. I think if you get a Xecuter 3 console done up on eBay right now, they're like anywhere from $400 to $600.
Dude, those were the days, man. Things were so simple back then. Please bring me back to those days.
One of my
Now it's everyone's like so in like such a strong competition just to do anything these days. I'd like to be simple again. That'd be fun.
dude, one of my favorite things I saw. I'm gonna have to link you this video after the show here, but I'd stumbled upon this video, and these are like decade old. You have to think about it, 2008, but these were like decade old videos I found on YouTube of people like installing the Xecuter 3. One of them is just like a bunch of dudes at a college somewhere who just bought an Xbox, and like the first 5 seconds are great because it's like this older looking guy, and he has this brick of his cell phone hanging off of his belt right before he's about to solder.
Dude, that's what I miss. I was actually watching something like this the other week. I'm like, please bring me back to that era. Even like the original Xbox 360 launch, you remember like the Xenon boards that were included on like factory launch?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, you remember all the red rings people were getting?
Yeah.
I was just like looking up those videos just for like fun like the other day. I'm like, damn, these were such simpler times.
I had so much fun. I think it was like a week ago I was explaining to someone the towel trick. Like we were talking about how you know how like all the solder balls on BGA systems end up breaking and like all this stuff happens, and then we explain how reflowing works. And like I think my friend was it was my friend explained to his girlfriend how that worked, and then I came in, I was like, oh, so now take that and essentially use I don't like use this word that much, but essentially use retarded logic and say, hey, if we get everything really hot and it melts the solder again, we could just wrap 3 towels around the system and turn it on to the point where it overheats and it will melt everything again and it will work.
Dude, who's like just think about that for a second. Like, not to clown anyone, but like think about it seriously for a second. Like to the point where the Xbox overheats, right?
Yeah.
A point of overheating in a system where it has to shut off at a critical point of, hey, the whole system's just gonna break if we don't shut off here. Like, whose decision was it for it to shut off at that point in which it just coincidentally, like, resolders everything inside? Like, what is the coincidence of that working?
I don't know. I think I would tell you the very first time I ever saw that trick done, it was Cheapy D from Cheap Ass Gamer. I saw his video.
Yes, dude.
That was the first time I ever saw that done.
Yes, dude, with the freaking 4x3 video of him just wrapping it up in the 10 minutes later.
Yeah, like him with like, you know, his bald head and everything. He was just like sitting there on the chair. Like I remember he was like sitting on the floor with all this. He was like, yeah, we're gonna set this up. We're gonna wait. Actually, I'm gonna go take a dump. So that's what I'm gonna do here. And then like comes back. He's like, so it's been about 45 minutes. I feel about 3 pounds lighter, and we're gonna see if our Xbox is working.
Dude, that's crazy because like, what are the actual odds of that core like system, like, hey, this is too hot, we're shutting down, and then that like actually fixing it? Like, what? Like, dude, and someone did that on purpose. Like, you can't tell me the two just didn't accidentally like meshing up.
I don't know. It didn't really fix it though. It was just a band-aid type thing. It got the system working.
Dude, it was the worst fix. In fact, the fix wasn't even a fix. It was the worst thing you could do for the system, because not only did it warp it more, but dude, it cracked way more points than what it was fixing.
I knew people who used to repair these professionally with like actual BGA hardware and such back in the day, and they're like, no, like you should never do that to your system, because if you start doing that, you make our job harder. Not only the entire system is weaker now, but on top of that, most of the time under the CPU and the GPU, you start having popcorning of the solder balls.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just like such a bad fix that it worked. It's kind of like, hey, your house is on fire, let's pour gasoline on it to help put out this fire. It's like such a retarded fix that like somehow worked at the time.
Max, that fix is actually not that bad, because see, the issue is with the house, but if you do that, you just accelerate the fire, and then at the end, you don't have a house to worry about.
Exactly. That's like, dude, I want that logic back. It was so bad that like it worked.
Oh man,
it worked for a
good
reason.
Times on that, at least.
It worked for a reason.
It did. It truly did. I had a few systems that were like that, and it's like, no, I think we're good now at this point. We're good. Just get something that will work nicely.
So there's been nothing else in the Xbox One scene as far as modding goes?
I mean, there's been, let's see, like, you can get the system into dev mode, which is pretty limited, and you can sideload homebrew to it, but I think the only other thing we saw was Vantage Tool, where there was, like, a small handful of games that were supported, and you could essentially just, you opened up the app on your computer, and you signed into your account that was tied to your gamer tag, and you modded your saves and would sync them back up to your cloud storage. But that was shut down real quick. So it got patched on the Xbox itself, and I believe you could still mod your PC saves, but the Xbox side things got patched up stupid quick.
This seems like a great way to get your account banned in under 4 seconds.
Kinda, yeah.
Dude, it is so bad how hard like their anti-cheat is. I won't get into the exact naming of it because, dude, you won't believe how bad Microsoft is.
I don't know if you...
Not bad, but like how bad they don't ever want that to happen.
Yeah,
because
I don't blame them. I understand.
You know Justin, right? XI Chocolate?
Yeah, shout out Chocolate.
We have a collective group of mutual friends. The Xbox Underground, you remember who they were, right?
Yeah, no, I remember them. I didn't know any of them personally, but I remember them.
A lot of them went to prison for what happened, but the few who were let out, dude, Microsoft seriously painted like a bad image of them, like in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go look it up on Wired. Like,
Wired has an amazing article about it. Not article. It is a essay about them. An entire just research document about it all.
It's like a movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you heard, but Nathan, unfortunately, about 2 months ago, took his own life over all that.
I did hear about that. Yeah. Now, was it specifically over the Xbox Underground stuff, or was it the attention coming to it from Wired, or kind of both?
It was just a collective effort of everything, dude, and it's just like that's one of the reasons why I got out of that whole scene, because everyone that I know that's stuck within it, like, it didn't end that well for them, and that's why I like went into like legitimate like business and whatnot, because everyone, like literally everyone that I know, like either you went to prison for doing what you did and you got out and things didn't work out and it ended like that, or it just ended at absolutely nowhere. And it's just like, you could take your talents and do something a lot better with it. And it's just, everyone usually who's stuck in that group didn't end that well, but everyone who chose to do better did really well for themselves. Like, I don't know if you remember him, but his name was Godly Elliot, or Godly Mods or whatever. You remember who he was?
I don't, no.
Oh, dude, he was like a small part of like YouTube's Xbox 360 modding scene, listening to me like back in the day.
Right.
He now goes by the name of Ollie White TV on YouTube, and he is massive. Like, he took like anything like Xbox related and flushed it out the window. Now he's like one of those like Jake Paul YouTubers, dude. He is absolutely massive.
One person that reminds me of this was I thought of this guy the other day. Do you remember D Almighty?
Yes.
Yeah, he used to, the first videos I saw of his, like, I remember, like, I didn't follow him religiously or anything, but, like, the first video I ever saw of his, it was, like, how to host a Modern Warfare 2 challenge lobby, and he had, like, a bunch of just Modern Warfare 2 modding-related videos. If you go to his channel now, all of that is completely removed, no trace of it. He is huge now, and his thing is scuba diving. He has a giant scuba diving
like,
channel.
Everyone from back in the day, like, you either ended really well or like really, really bad, and it's just like
the thing is, though,
in between.
We should also really annotate that there was a major difference with like just like general modders and such, and what like Xbox Underground was doing, where they were maliciously going after these companies. They were actually stealing, physically and virtually, and planning on reselling all this shit as well too. Like, they were actually doing some big real-time hacking. And on top of that, I mean, the stuff that really pulled, like, I think the stuff that really tipped them over was when they started hacking, I mean, like, government systems and all that as well too.
I don't know what I can say and what I can't.
I'm kind of more
'Cause,
going over off the Wired article. I mean, all that's public at least.
ho- honestly, there's some stuff out there that hasn't been released, and I thank Nathan for giving everyone their privacy. But they, I don't know what I can say that won't get me in trouble. But
It's best not to say.
let me think how I could say this. I told them many times that they should get out while they are ahead, if that makes sense.
No, I got you.
It's just think about it.
No, I got you.
And so I saw a bunch of stuff from that. I was like, dude, y'all are gonna really get caught one of these days.
Well, they were all for showing off the shit that they had. I mean, you got to remember, one of the guys ended up rebuilding. He was selling a fucking Durango dev kit, all right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Dude, I told him, I was like, you are literally taking Microsoft stuff. Like, they are going to know who's doing what. Like, they know who's even signing in. Like, you're not going to take their precious, like, development babies, their next cash cow, and just be able to be like, oh, no, they're not going to know. Like, dude, y'all are seriously riding on the edge of, like, self-destruction here.
Yeah. Well, we saw what happened with all that, so... Oh, well.
Oh well, all is well that ends well.
All is well as ends well. Speaking of some things ending, I kind of want to transition to this. So, Max, in my previous episodes, I've been keeping the listeners here, and if you've been listening, thank you. I've been keeping people here up to date with my dieting stuff. I don't know if you follow that at all. If you haven't, it's all good.
I see you on Twitter tweeting about it now and then.
Okay.
You think I'd be saying? You think I'd be sleep? No, I'm like.
I just don't know what you see and what you don't.
I keep up to date on everyone, my man.
Well, just telling everyone here, I ended up, because I was doing keto before. I started in April, and it's been about 4.5 months or so. It's been successful for me, but I decided to stop it. Now, I was going to stop, like, I was going to go on for another week, but I decided to cut it off a week early, just kind of because of some overlapping circumstances. Like, first thing I had, so my lowest weight I've gotten has been like 151.4 pounds, which is down from 178.6. So like I didn't get
in 4 months.
Yeah, 4.5 months.
Wow, dude, that's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you. And it was, and I probably could have gone down a little bit lower as well too. My goal was 150, but it was kind of a bunch of things going on. Like one, I was comfortable and confident enough with my body. Two, I had a biometric screening at work recently, and it was funny because like afterwards, you know, they checked my blood. I was asking about some of my numbers and everything, and when I was talking about like the BMI and the weight, like the lady kind of looked at me like I was a little bit crazy, and she was like, "Wait, you want to lose more weight? Like how much more weight are you wanting to lose? Because I'm looking at you, I'm looking at your numbers. You seem to be fine. Like you're not overweight, you're thin. Like I personally don't see a need for you to lose weight, but if you need to, that's fine." So I kind of got that assurance. And then on top of that, Max, have you ever gone out of your way to like come home, you're tired, you make yourself a meal, and it's nothing wrong that you did, but it just turns out fucking disgusting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is like, what am I doing? You are a filthy animal.
Yeah, no. So what happened was on Thursday, I remember this. On Thursday, I came home, I was tired, and I ended up like cooking up some food and everything. And it was like a burger patty, like something easy enough. It was already pre-made and everything at a grocery store I went to, and it was spiced up and all that stuff. I took it downstairs, I had a bite, and like the thing was cooked, and it wasn't bad, mind you, but like, you know, it wasn't rotten is what I'm trying to say. But I had a bite, and I had a second one. I was like, there's something off about this, what's going on? And then like I have another bite, and I think like my fourth bite, it was just like, I can't really describe it as any better than this, but it just tasted like plasticky and manufactured. And the problem is, like, when you bit into it at certain parts, the taste just like...
I've had that happen mid-meal before.
Dude, and the taste just like spread throughout my mouth. And then on top of that, the other stuff that I had, I didn't cook all the way. So then I'm just like, I'm tired and I'm hungry and then I'm dealing with the shit and I'm frustrated. So then I had to throw up my dinner and cook myself a second dinner. So I kind of have that. And then the next day, we had all these people bringing all this junk food. And I started, not gonna lie, I started indulging a little bit. And it was like, by the next day, like, I was, because I had definitely gone over my, was it my net carb limit? And I was still feeling okay. But it was like the next day I told my girlfriend, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not, like, the keto thing's just like, it's rip right now. I know I know that I was going to finish this, like, next week, but I started a little bit early. What are we getting? So.
Dude, I've had that happen, like, mid-meal before, and it's just like, what was it? Oh, God, what was it? Dude, this is the worst when your brain's like, no, we're not eating this anymore, honey. And if you keep eating this, I'm going to make it taste disgusting.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it?
Was it some hamburger stuff, like, maybe? Because that's what I had.
Yes! Yes, it was actually Burger King, and it was like mid-meal, and it was just like one burger in, and it's just like, you know, this isn't really what you're going to want to eat. And it's just like, all right, whole meal ruined. Dude, it's just like, oh, cool.
I'm going to say this straight up, all right? I stopped eating Burger King a long time ago because I noticed a direct correlation with me having Burger King and me having diarrhea. When one thing happened, the other thing happened. Yeah. No, and real talk, like one day I even got so frustrated, I looked it up. And I found out the source of this issue seemed to be with their mayonnaise. Because the mayonnaise cannot be properly processed by human bodies.
Why are they using that then?
Because it's cheap, and it tastes like mayonnaise, and it looks like mayonnaise, Max. That's why.
Are they selling us paint?
Maybe, I don't know, but they're selling it. It's kind of like sugar alcohol, I'm sure, where like sugar alcohol, your body can't process it, so it just...
Oh, it's a substitute?
You just poop it out, yeah, and this...
Oh, dude, that's like those sugar-free gummy bears. Never eat those.
No. I could eat them, I'm sure, but I was smart about it, because I've had to get very familiar with sugar alcohols on the keto diet, because that's what I've been having, and it's like, I could have like 10 or 20 grams worth of sugar alcohols a day, and I'm still fine. But I looked at the sugar-free gummy bears, and it's like 16 grams of sugar alcohol per serving, and one serving is like 5 bears. Who eats 5 gummy bears?
Right?
Yeah, so...
It's just like, y'all are out of your mind. Y'all are...
No, so...
Your mama didn't raise you right if y'all trying to sell this.
So, no, but like, if somebody ate like 1 or 2 servings of the gummy bears, they'd be okay. But there's people who grab like a fistful of gummy bears, and that's like 8 or 10 servings at that point.
See, if you read the Amazon reviews, though, on those, it's like, damn, this really flushed me out worse than a laxative. Dude, some of that stuff, they, like, substitute in, like, the worst, like, compounds possible. And, like, the Haribo, like, sugar-free gummy bears, just in particular, just because I remember it being, like, a big thing when it came out, like, 2016. Yeah. People were complaining, like, this is worse than a laxative. It turns out, like, the same exact, like, sugar substitute they use in, like, X-Lax or something, they put in, like, those gummy bears because, like, they can't use real sugar. And it's like, dude, who oversought this to be like, okay, that's perfectly acceptable, like a little snack that, like, kids eat, like, put that in there, like... But, what are y'all thinking?
But here's the thing, though. They covered their asses because they put all that information, like, on the nutritional... you look at the nutritional facts, you see how much a serving is, you see how much sugar alcohol is in a serving, you need to know what sugar alcohol does, but no one reads that shit, all right? Because they're gummy bears.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's kind of like... It's kind of like how modding went hand in hand. It's like people not knowing what they're doing. It's like, you're supposed to know what you're doing. Like, what are you... like, why? Just why? Speaking of which, I wanted to cover base on this system.
Yes.
I've never seen anything better carried out than this from back in 2011 and 2012. C4eva's final LT Plus firmware. Dude, that thing was such a golden egg. Like, it never had to be, like, redone after that. Like, it completely flashed the system's stealth.
Yeah, I think the last time we got an update on those really was 2012. It was like Christmas of 20... No, was it 20... It was 2011. Yeah, it was 2011 because I was still...
with XGD3 and AP 2.5.
Yeah, because that's when I was living with my parents. Yeah, no, those.
Yeah, it got around AP 2.5.
Yep. One thing I can't believe on that. I can't believe that Microsoft didn't add more XGD2 titles to the AP 2.5 library, and they didn't like do system reflashes or any of that either.
They tried.
Well, they did it once. They did it one time, and that was it.
And I think with that, all you had to do is revert to stock firmware, let them flash it, and then you just reflashed afterward, and like you were fine. But like that, honestly, was like the coolest like physical hardware flash or like software modification to the hardware on the Xbox I've seen that's lasted for so long without any issues.
Yeah, because
C4ever is a genius for putting that out, and he really changed the game.
Oh yeah, and we don't know where he's at now, so he's gone somewhere, hopefully enjoying his time.
I have someone close to him. He thinks I don't. He'll probably be sitting there if he ever hears this podcast. He thinks I don't have people, but he talks to people that I know, and he's doing well.
That's awesome. That's good to know. He's there in spirit.
He's more in spirit than ever, dude. He's doing pretty well.
Perfect.
You'd think that a lot of these like people who you think that are clean on YouTube to have like no shady background, but you'd be very surprised.
No, I'm not surprised with that at all. And I know a lot of these are kind of just like personas redone as well too, where people change their names and all that, and they do other things. Yeah. I know. Like again, shout out MVG, but like Modern Vintage Gamer. Have you seen his stuff on YouTube?
I have seen him see you.
Yeah,
yes.
so he was he came out with he was really big and short in the original Xbox scene. He was responsible for a ton of emulators, several other like homebrew development pieces as well too. And he just shocked people because he came out as Lantis. And he was like, or Lantis 360, those are his original names. And he pretty much said like, yep, if you had a original Xbox and you played emulators on it, most likely you played some kind of code that I wrote.
Yeah, man, this is kind of like how it goes, because one, for legal reasons, like you don't want Microsoft coming after you at that time, and two, like you gotta wait for it to cool down. It's just like, you don't want anyone that you know getting hurt from people that are like, oh, I'm gonna swat you because you did this. I can see where he's coming from.
Right. Yeah.
And that was before swatting was a thing back in the day. Anyone you never mind. I ain't even gonna get
right.
challenge. Never mind.
Max, no. Not here.
I apologize.
Oh man. So one thing I have, normally the way I do this, I have like a rough list of topics of things I want to talk about. But one thing I had seen recently. So Max, you've listened to some of this stuff that the kids called hip hop, right?
Oh Lord. Here we
go.
Go.
I didn't know about this until like I stumbled upon a video by someone who did this, and I've never seen any other videos on his channel. I just saw this one. It seemed interesting enough. But of course, many people, they start off with Fruity Loops, otherwise known as FL Studio. And apparently,
yes,
Fruity Loops goes so hard with their copyright stuff that they will directly go after YouTubers they know who are making videos using pirated versions of their software.
Yeah, that is a little confusing to me, because I've seen a mixed stance on that. I'm not going to get exactly into it, but I know some people in the industry, and I know some people that have pirated software that showed off on YouTube, and they haven't been hit with a strike, but I do know for a fact those that are making like a bad noise and they are using pirated software, that they will be striked by them.
So this is what this guy's story was, and I don't remember what his YouTube channel was called, but essentially he said that he's made, he's a producer, of course, and then he's made a whole series, a tutorial series on, how to use FL Studio. And he ended up getting hit with like 2 copyright strikes from the studio, like from the creators of this. And he contacted them, and they hit him up and they said, hey, yeah, we saw your tutorials, and while they are good, we noticed that you are using a cracked version of our software. So you need to clean that up. You need to use a legit version of the software. If you do that, we will allow you to continue on with your channel. So I don't know if he got the strikes removed or if he just waited them out, but either way, everything was good. But he used a legal version of their software, but he ended up using his friend's copy because his friend had FL Studio. So apparently later on, he got a strike again, and the company hit him up and they're like, hey, so we noticed that we don't have a license sold to you on this. And they asked him, like, are you using a cracked software? He said no. And they asked, okay, so did you buy the software? And he said no, it's my friend's, this is his name. And they're just like, oh, well, according to our terms of use here, you can't do that either. So this is going to be the same for us as piracy. So they're going that hard to that point, which I thought was crazy. Like, I understand they're protecting that, but I just haven't seen that before.
To my understanding, copyright on YouTube shouldn't work like that. If they're gonna strike someone for piracy, you have to be actually distributing the software in a manner that supports piracy and the theft of the intellectual property of those works. And the fact that they're solely basing copyright infringement on how software is presented in a video, if it is starting to damage a person's reputation and actual monetary income, that person should look into legal representation, because one, if they said that they had legitimate software, the private reuse and distribution from one licensed computer to another, if it is allowed to, is perfectly acceptable and fine. And two, if it is starting to damage your reputation, I would start to seek some counter means to their legal assessment of that, because obviously YouTube's piracy prevention in the copyright form is meant to stop the distribution of software if it's being pirated. But if you have a legitimate software, or even if you're presenting pirated software but you're not distributing it, that's fine. So if they're actually getting away with that, that's a pretty big red flag.
Interesting. Yeah, I see. I'm more on the side of, like, I can understand, like, if it's, you know, if it's a pirated software that's being used, yeah, the only tool they have is DMCA to take that down. And then, you know, if they're going against the end user license agreement, I can get that as well too. I just haven't seen a company go that hard in regards to it, and I understand they're protecting that and everything.
It doesn't matter if they're protecting it. If there is a legitimate license, or even if it's pirated, say it's completely pirated. If someone's presenting pirated software, but they're not giving you the means to download that software, they're not redistributing it, there is no actual intellectual property being infringed upon there.
However, the other thing is, too, I know that he was also making money off that, not just through YouTube, but, like, he was using the software to produce beats to make money off of.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's not redistributing it. You hear what I'm saying?
Like the actual software, you're saying?
Yeah, the whole point of piracy and theft protection is to prevent the redistribution of the software. It's like, well, if you look into a movie or just anything that goes for pirating, it's like, you're allowed to make copies of anything you want as long as it's for private use. Yeah. But if you start distributing it to the public, like, that's where you run into issues. So if that dude's legitimately just using it in his private time, he's still, like, making money off the beats on the side, and if his friend was letting him use a license on the side that was paid for and legitimate, they're in the complete wrong in that case, and that person needs to actually look into some legal ramifications, because that is just straight up DMCA abuse.
See, I would, on that though, I would disagree on it, just because, you know, as we've said here, he was using that software, so he was going against that license agreement, but then he was using the software to make money off of, and at that point, then that would technically be commercial use, because you're using that to make money from it, and I know you really can't be rocking pirated software with stuff like that.
But he said he had a license from a friend, though.
His friend had a license. He did not own a license.
Well, then just show them the friend's license.
Yeah, and the thing is, he did show them the friend's license, and they said, yeah, but according to our end-user license agreement right here, you cannot transfer that between users.
It wasn't a transfer between users, it was a transfer between computers. They can get very fickle and thin with how the wording is on this. Oh, yeah. Trust me, especially a copyright, where, like, private companies want to, like, create their own, like, laws and terms. Like, DMCA goes, like, one of two ways. Like, either you're distributing stuff that infringes intellectual property, or you're not. And if you're not, then, like, you should be okay. It's like how it's like how Microsoft had those warranty void if removed stickers on the Xboxes. Like, that's cool and all, but, like, in theory, in, like, legality, those are completely illegal.
Well, it wasn't just that, it was all companies. And then on top of that, did you see how that's been it wasn't reversed. I can't say that because those have been illegal for decades now at this point. But did you see how recently the FTC actually made a push on that?
Yes, and that's why I'm bringing it up. It's like a lot of these companies that are trying to strong arm like little guys, like that's coming to an end very quickly because like they could get away with it back in the day, but like you have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have YouTube, you have Facebook, you have Snapchat, you have all these mediums in which people can complain now, like say, hey, they're wronging me. And if like you're truly being wronged, like you can speak out against it, and like these companies seriously have bad backlash if like they're wronging someone. It's like they can't get away with it no more. So like, you know, as silly as it is, like that copyright thing or like these warranty stickers, like if people are being wronged, like those companies aren't going to be around too much longer because you can't treat customers like that.
That's true. Yeah. Either way, I was really happy to see that end up getting reversed, or not. Okay, I used the wrong term, but end up getting pushed through, like to the point where FTC said, you all needs to obey this, like actually start putting this into effect, or else we're going to start fining you.
Yeah, dude. No, it's like, who even thought of that in the first place to like make that like enforceable? Like that is a federal trade commission. That's like a law.
Yeah.
Like. And how are you just going to dance around
like
and be like, oh, we're greater?
It's not like it just started out now. Like this is, you know, we're talking about, well, not the original, like the PS2 that had a warranty seal. So that was 2000. The original Xbox 2001. Like this has been going on for most of our lives, like you and I.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. It's just like that stuff's kind of coming to an end. It's just like, why did you guys even enforce this to begin with? Like, I can understand from a warranty point of view, you don't want people opening the hardware up and like messing with it on purpose to get like a free replacement. Like, I can understand. Of course,
and they have said that as well too. They are now very specific in their guidelines. They say like, if this hardware has been opened and like any damage to the system to cause it to malfunction was caused by you, and it is obvious and we can find that, then your warranty is void. Because at that point, you are the one who wrecked it.
Yeah, it's just like, I can understand that, but like from the original point being, it's just, it seems like they didn't want competition opening up like their hardware to the point where like they couldn't like examine it.
Yeah.
And like steal ideas and whatnot, and it kind of like hurt the little guy in the end because like if you wanted to fix like your Xbox or anything like that, it's just like you couldn't because you completely break your warranty.
Yeah, I think the worst offense I've ever seen of that was my parents had a fucking just a regular desktop computer from Best Buy. The shit had a warranty seal on the back of it.
Oh god, Best Buy warranties. This is gonna be
no, it wasn't even a Best Buy thing. It was straight from Asus. Like and I wasn't even doing anything with the system. I just wanted to open it up and clean it out, which it desperately needed to be cleaned. But this is like the case was in. It was designed so that it pretty much just trapped in a ton of dust. But when I looked at the back, it had a warranty seal, and it was saying like, yeah, your warranty is going to be void if you open this. To me, the reason why I say that's the worst offense is because desktops are designed to be opened up and plug and play, and they are designed to be modular. That's their entire basis.
That seems like one of those cases where if they wanted you to be able to add something to it, it's like you got to schedule like a pickup for repair or something. It's like one of those like cheap ways for them to like stay in business.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, but like, how you gonna put a sticker on the back of a case like that? Like, they're meant to be opened up. That's like saying don't pop the hood on your car or is your engine's void. Like, come on now.
That's what I'm saying. That's why that's been the worst offense that I've seen, at least.
That is terrible. They're not gonna get away with that any longer.
Yeah, because I'm like.
Oh, dude, you want to hear about one of those stories about warranty stickers? Like back in the day, like I had an Xbox 360. Like
one of your many. You've had many 360s.
Yes, to the point where I threw them all in a trash compactor. I had so many laying around. I had 38 of them laying around at one point.
I mean, I've probably had more than that overall, but I've never had that many laying around at once. Right now, I know I am in the double digits right now, though.
I was using some of them as door
I did that too.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, I turned one into a tissue box.
Yes. But dude, I was just not having it with Microsoft, and I was like, you know what, you banned like the 30th console this year alone. I'm not buying another one, so I just like forced it to get a red ring. And because there was no warranty sticker on it, like they weren't going to take it. So I was just like, let's see if I can bootleg like a sticker and see if they take it. Like I printed up like a pretty like legit sticker. Like it was like it obviously wasn't one from Microsoft, but it wasn't like one that looked like it like someone would just print up, and it had like a whole like brand of logos on it and said warranty void if removed. And so I super glued it on, so it seemed like to the point where if you tried to remove it, it'd tear off and void it. So if you super glue it on, it like gives it like that much more like a genuine of like being like a real sticker. And so I sent it in with like the bootleg sticker, and dude, they actually took it and repaired it. I was like, no way.
Sometimes they didn't check that shit. Like my and I have to say, because of stuff like that, like I want to say it's funny, but I also want to say at the same time, bad Max, because that is why these stickers were being put on there, so shit like this doesn't happen, but still goes through.
I was just testing to see if they were looking at them.
No,
man.
But so when I was working at a game shop, my manager at the time, this was around the time period when the Xenons were still, like, you could still service them under that 3-year warranty, but it was getting to be about the point where you weren't going to be, they were just getting out of the 3-year warranty. So my manager started case swapping, and he would, like, so he had to find, you know, a busted system, which easy enough to find. Then he had to find another system that was within the 3-year manufacturer. He would register it with Microsoft, and he was so gentle. He would take apart the system. He like bypass a sticker. He'd put the sticker on the new one. He'd close it all up real nicely, send it in. It worked. He did it again. It worked.
Dude, it was so easy.
No, but here's the thing. In the end, it got, after he did like 5 of them, it got to the point where he's like, dude, I don't even care anymore. I just kind of like poked the stuff in there. I ripped the shit open. I just put it on. I put the case on another system, and I asked about the warranty sticker. He's like, I don't even do the warranty sticker anymore because I've sent in systems with no warranty stickers, and they still fix them for me.
Dude, it sometimes works like that, and it's so crazy. Like Microsoft makes it seem like this whole like process, like, oh, it's gotta be like this, and this, and I'm sure plenty of people got rejected. But like, dude, sometimes people are just able to just wing it, like give them like the crappiest systems, and it get completely fixed. That is some funny stuff, man. How long did he do that for?
I don't know. I know it just he did it to the point where. He did it until he couldn't find any more Xenons within a 3-year manufacturing time.
Oh, so pretty much all 3 years, maybe.
Yeah,
then.
something like that. Because this was around, so, I mean, this was like 2000, not really, it was like 2010 we were doing it. Because there was like still systems that were manufactured in 2007.
Oh yeah, that awkward Xenon to Zephyr transition.
Yeah, and it wasn't only the Xenons either. He even did it with HDMI systems. I just remember the Xenon, that one was harder to find since it was made in like 05, 06, kind of 07, but more 06. He's like, okay, we're kind of on like a, you know, a ticking schedule right here. Like we need to find something fast.
Dude, you know what? The new Xboxes are cool and all.
I don't think they're cool. I don't think they're cool at all, Max.
You didn't let me finish.
Yeah.
Not let me finish. They're cool and all, like look wise. Like a lot of my friends and me, like we've agreed to, like they're not cool like at all because like they feel like way too perfected and like they're so boring nowadays. And it's just like some of that like rawness from back in the day of like them being like crappy consoles was so much fun.
You're giving it so much more credit than I would. I don't like how the Xbox Ones look. I don't like how the interface is. I think it's just really annoying and sloppy.
Dude, it seems like so commercialized. It is so annoying.
No, so listen to this. I got the Xbox One X, right? And I'm having the same issues that I had with my original Xbox. By that I mean before anyone says I have bad internet, I have gigabit internet, okay? I have gigabit internet, I'm wired in, the shit takes 30 minutes to update because it has to download the file, which always slows down in the last 10 or 20%, and then it has to verify that, and then it has to patch it, and then it has to restart. The most powerful console in the world, and it's still taken all that time to do it. I'm sure you heard recently that Master Chief Collection was fixed, right? I've been waiting 3 weeks to download the fucking patch.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding at all. And again, people might say it's my internet, but on the same network switch, I have my PS4, my other systems hooked up. The PS4, I fire it on, it downloads games, it downloads updates, everything easily with no issue. I'm maxing out my speed as much as I can on that. The Xbox One, and this, like, again, it's a big update. It's a 73 gig update, but it shouldn't take 3 weeks to download. So maybe it's just the
Dude, it shouldn't even take 3 minutes to download into your connection.
Well, it would take a little longer than 3 minutes, but I was even...
Oh, you know what I'm saying.
Now, I was even looking at this from other sides as well, too, because I said, okay, well, maybe is it just the update? Is it the Xbox One? I don't know. But again, it's not my network on that. It's not the other systems. I downloaded a update for YouTube. It downloaded just like that. I downloaded Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox One when it went backwards compatible. I walked away for some time, came back, it was done. This right here, the first 2 weeks, I kept my system in instant on mode, and the thing kept stopping and stopping and stopping. So now I have my system on, like actually on, sitting there for days on end in the home menu, because the download constantly starts and stops and starts and stops. It's going at about 5 megabits a second, and it keeps doing installation stopped. So like every 12 hours, I have to check on the system and restart the download to resume it.
That seems like something seriously wrong with
and
that.
it's just this one isolated incident. It is the system with this, and I've tried going on my wireless connection. It didn't make a difference on that either. But again, I can download other things on the system just fine, but not this update. And the reason why I'm so frustrated with it is because this was the final reason I had to get an Xbox One X. I was saying, if they patch up Master Chief Collection and fix it, I will get a One X. I'll play through all the Halos on there so I can play them at a nice 60 frames a second. Hopefully it will be locked up. And it's frustrating because, again, this is pretty much the one thing I wanted from the One X, and it can't do it. Most powerful console in the world can't download an update.
Seems like that was a solid marketing ploy at that point then, boy.
Man. At least I didn't pay that much for the system. Thankfully, I guess relative to everything else.
Obviously, you've tried every troubleshooting stuff in the book.
Exactly. Yeah. So at this point, I really just again have to continue with it. I have like 18 gigabytes left so far. So, yeah.
How? Why?
Yes.
It just seems like they're downloading that in multiple segments of a package, and it seems like when they restart it to continue on, it's having issues grabbing onto the rest of the data that they're trying to
I guess
collect.
so, because yeah, it constantly goes from like downloading ready to start, downloading ready to start, and it downloads at little slivers at a time. It's bad.
Seems like something security-wise is funky
Possibly.
there.
But yeah, as I said, everything else on the system seems to be okay. I mean, like, my main thing coming away from this is the Xbox One X. If you don't like the Xbox One, which I've made a video about, and I don't like it, the One X isn't going to improve that, because everything is the same. You're just working with a system that has higher specs. It's like when people say they're not into PC gaming or they don't like PC gaming that much. They probably don't like the ecosystem. They probably don't like the stuff that they have to do. If I give you a super powerful PC, it'll be cool for a little bit, but then you'll kind of revert back and, kind of run into the same issues here and there. So you can throw higher specs at it. Things are going to run better, but if you don't like the ecosystem and the setup around it, having a more powerful setup is not going to help.
I absolutely agree.
Not good.
That's where we get to the original point. Bring back my Xbox 360 dashboard with blades. Nothing will beat that.
Personally, I liked NXE the most.
Dude.
No, man, NXE is my favorite.
Next Xbox experience, come on now.
I love that, man. Like, I still, like, occasionally I run into a system with it, and it's just, it's so nice.
Dude, do you remember when they brought that update out, and it's just like you and your friends could go on this like game show or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
1 versus 100.
I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Yes, dude, that was so much fun.
I don't know why they, like, that is one of the worst things they did to stop it. Like, they brought it, and they did season 2, and then it just ended.
Dude, I remember it was the summer of 2009 or 10, I think, because I had no air conditioner at that point because the air conditioning broke, and I was like, man, it's a really hot summer. It's like 100 degrees in the house. It's like, this is a really hot summer. But the 1 versus 100 came out, dude, it was so much fun.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember I played it a handful of times and I really enjoyed it, but that was the best of the community back in the day.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Bring back my glory days, dude. Come on now. These new kids don't even know what an NXT is. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, your mama raised you wrong.
I'll say this, though. I'd mentioned this to you slightly before, and I've talked about this on previous episodes, but my youngest brother, he's into Fortnite right now, and I've seen him play it, and it makes me smile because I know there's a lot of negative stigma and a lot of like older people just hating on Fortnite, but here's the thing with it. It just makes me smile because I saw him on the Xbox, you know, partying it up with his friends, talk with him, just playing this all day over the summer. And he was having the same level of that. Him playing Fortnite was me playing Halo 3 with all of my friends. And Call of Duty 4.
Aww.
Yeah, that's why my heart just melted. And I'm like, I can't hate on this, dude. Like, it's not fair. I can't be like, oh, my games are better and such, because that's not stuff that's cool to you all. That's not stuff that people are growing up with. Like, back with us, like, we grew up with Halo 3 and Call of Duty 4, and now they're growing up with Fortnite. And he's making those same memories just on a different platform on a different game.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, it made me so happy. I think my favorite moment as well too was at one point he got hurt deep by this one, but he was getting so good at the game that I guess he kept killing one of his friends over and over and just kept beating him, and his friend got so mad that he removed and blocked him.
Oh, now you know that's real rage when you remove and block them.
Yeah, and like we were even asking him about it, and he was like kind of quiet and was trying to, and I could tell him like, dude, I know you're hurt by it, man, but your friend's gonna unblock you tomorrow, and he did.
Dude, that reminds me of the Halo 3 Forge days, you like on Sandtrap trying to make something happen. It's just like someone comes into your setup and completely ruins it. You're like, nope, you're out. See ya.
Oh, fuck people that did that. Oh, man.
Dude, it was the worst. Yeah. Dude, Sandtrap was one of those maps that like a lot of like unknown glitches happened on, like the Mongoose. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people knew about this, but like there were ways to get like zero gravity on that map.
I remember my favorite is still the flying elephant.
Yes. However, nothing beats a modded, what's it called? Dude, the thing that's in the sky, what's the name of it? I forget, but like that whole ship I was able to bring down into the map.
I know what you're talking about.
Ugh,
that's awesome.
Great. Nothing better than a flying mongoose in zero gravity, though. I remember how it's done. It's just really tricky to get going.
The flying elephant was a little bit trickier than I remember as well too, but when you get it going, it's just that thing never stops. It's so beautiful.
Dude, that thing was so much
I love
fun.
it. I think that was one.
Man, no one knows what we're talking about. This thing sounds like a bunch of 80-year-old men talking about back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here quiet judging y'all.
Perfect. One thing I thought about was this is somewhat recently. So I ended up picking up this shirt, and it just kind of reminds me of all this. But I picked up this shirt, and it is just a coagulation of all the Nicktoons. So you see like Reptar and the Hey Arnold characters and Rugrats and all of them on there. And someone had like made, I don't want to quote it, but they end up making, a offhand comment about it. And I thought of it and I'm like, this is actually not really childish, because these are like on my shirt. Yeah, these are all kids cartoons, but no kids are watching these shows. Most kids don't know what these shows are. And when I go out in public and wear the shirt, the people who freak out and compliment my shirt are all in their 20s and 30s. There are no kids that say anything about the shirt,
right,
or
dude?
even look my way.
Yes.
But it's always 20 and 30-year-olds that are like, oh my God, I remember that. And like they'll ask me about Hey Arnold and Invader Zim and just like freak out and have a moment with me.
Dude, right? It's the best.
Oh, yeah. I did you see that? I mean, we're starting to see comebacks on it too. I think Invader Zim is. I believe there's a movie in production. The thing that's really blown my mind is the Hey Arnold like jungle movie that was supposed to come out like 2 decades ago almost and never came out. That's supposed to be happening here soon with the original cast.
Well, if you notice, a lot of Hollywood shows, dramas, movies, just anything lately, there's been a heavy influence from the 80s, like a lot of 80s reboots and styles with music even, like Like a lot of the weekends, like his music like sounds super 80s, and I like that style a lot. But like I think they're gonna start transitioning out from the 80s and into the 90s now, and you'll see like a bunch of like stuff from the 90s starting to make like a popular comeback soon.
We already rose Tupac at Coachella a few years ago. I don't know what else they can do.
Well, they can try and bring him back to life. Do that, then I'll be really impressed.
That'd be kind of spooky. I wonder. Do you ever wonder sometimes what Tupac and Biggie would think of like all the rappers now?
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting question. I mean, I don't think they'd hate on it.
I know. Sometimes I just kind of like sit back and think I'm like, who would they really vibe with? I know, like,
I mean,
even. Call me crazy, but I feel like they would have a little bit of a soft spot for Lil B. They would see what he's doing. They're just like, you know what, you're not the best. You're kind of you're treating this as a joke, but you're getting a bit serious now. Like, yeah, I see you, young blood.
I mean, they're artists, so they're gonna appreciate everyone in the game because it's just what comes with it. But I think they wouldn't necessarily hate it, but they wouldn't be for it, just because honestly, if hip-hop doesn't change its course that it's on, it's gonna be facing some difficult times soon, just because genre-wise this can't last much longer. I mean, as cool as like all the trap music is, like if you know me, Mario, I was about it before it was like mainstream, like way long ago.
Oh yeah, I remember we were talking about like Gucci and all of them, the whole 1017 Brick Squad.
Before it was like mainstream, it's just like, honestly,
I was
how
surfing
many times
sites.
can you rap? Honestly, how many times can you rap about doing Xan and all this stuff like before it's like
people are getting really tapped
really
tapped out from that too, not only because the fatigue but also kind of like the ridiculous personas that are coming along with it, and also people are now getting it's now, I mean, it comes in waves here and there, but people are now getting woke up about these designer drugs where they're seeing like, oh, there's like, I mean, like Peep, for example, who passed away at 21. I mean, we saw Mac Miller just recently at 26. Like, all these people are just like going way too young.
Yeah, way too fast as well. And it's just, I don't think this whole lifestyle and image that comes with it's gonna last too much longer, because you have a lot of talented people unfortunately passing away too fast from it. And
yeah, and I mean,
it's at a point now where it's either gonna make it or break it. Hip hop has to change directions to a better direction, or it's just gonna completely go up in flames. Honestly.
Yeah, I just don't know what direction it's gonna go to next. I think one of my favorite comments I've seen has been like, rappers now are looking like a bunch of like Looney Tunes or Fortnite characters. Like, well, they're...
Dude, they look like the inside of a high school bathroom stall. You know what I'm saying? Like, saying. Come on now. Like, all you need is the colored braids, a cup of lean, and a lot of Xanax. And a SoundCloud that kind of gets popping at night, you're a rapper.
I really like Post Malone's music. Like, I genuinely enjoy it quite a bit. I think he's talented, but you look at a picture of him and you can smell him.
Dude, right? He's really talented. That and 21 Savage, and do you know who else is I really started listening to recently? That? He sounds way different than the rest of like anyone hip hop at the moment, but I know I'm probably gonna get laughed at. Yes, little white boy, listen to him. But Moneybagg Yo, he has like such a different sound.
Have not listened to that guy at all, actually.
You need to.
I will. We'll exchange. I've been listening, so I've been, I've been enjoying, like my rap here and there. Of course, I feel so old saying that. It's weird. I guess just like the delivery. My thing is, I haven't been keeping up on it as much. I've been. Weirdly enough, the past like year or so, I've just been on a big emo kick. Like, I love sad music. But even, here's the thing, before you're thinking of like, any like screaming type stuff, it's not like the stuff that we grew up with or what we thought of. It's now like emo is blending into trap and rap and hip hop.
Dude, right? It's like a mixture of like all three, and it's like, it's honestly not terrible. Like, I know people are like saying, oh no, it's still emo. It's not really. It's like pretty unique and like interesting.
No, so one of my favorite artists and probably my favorite solo artist is Nothing Nowhere, And I mean, people who watch the channel know I've been putting on for this guy. I have his poster in the background. I wear his shirts, his hats, all that stuff. But no, the way I introduce him to people, I essentially say, like, when people ask, like, what type of genre he is, I say emo trap. And there's, like, a couple songs that I normally recommend to people. And one of them, like, I played it for one of my friends who's really into hip-hop, really into trap music. And it was, I'm Sorry, I'm Trying. And it's, like, my thing is, like, he, along with many of my friends, they don't really vibe out to the sad type stuff, which I totally understand that. But he was just sitting in my car listening to it, and he's like, like, you're 100% right on this. Like, it has all the 808s, it has all the beats, he's rapping, singing, the lyrics are emo, and it's good, but my mind just can't make the connection that this is a thing. But this is exactly what you described to me, but I can't fathom it.
Yeah, it finally clicked. Some people don't believe it until they hear it.
Yeah, no, because when you hear that name, it just sounds so ridiculous. But then when you actually listen to it, it's like, wow, this actually, this happened.
I think music, I know I was saying, like, a hip-hop's at a make it or break it point, but, like, honestly, talent-wise, though, it is better than ever because there's such a diverse collection of music you could choose from right now. And, like, there are seriously really talented artists out there versus, like, 10 years ago even. It's just, like, there was no SoundCloud, there was no YouTube, there was no anything. It's just like anyone mainstream was being force-fed to you by the record companies, and you couldn't hear anyone else.
I would say probably 15 years ago would be more, because that's the thing, dude. You have to remember, 10 years ago was 2008. Like, I know.
Oh my God, dude, I'm getting old.
No, so maybe 15 years ago would be more accurate. But yeah, I was going to say, now you can really self-make yourself. Like, I mean, this depends on what era you're going to come from. But if we're going to discuss, like, the first viral rapper, you got to realize this, like, peer-to-peer era, technically Afro Man with Because I Got High, he was probably the first viral rapper, but viral as we know today was Soulja Boy.
Dude, I was just reading some articles about him the other day about that. That is so crazy that you bring that up.
Yeah, no, as much as, and I know people completely clowned him back in the day and everything, and even now, I mean, he does his corny.
Dude, his marketing was on point. Like, if anyone needs to take notes, take it from him. Like, he seriously did it right.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's the crazy thing about it. Like, love him or hate him, in the current environment, what we classify as viral, Soulja Boy was the first viral rapper.
Yeah, and he did it by means of not anything crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he explained it pretty well. What he was doing was just rebranding popular songs on LimeWire and putting his tag in. Like,
yeah, but then he really capitalized on YouTube as well, because he was putting up all his gaming shit. He was putting up his vlogs. He was putting up his new songs, his music videos, his dances.
Dude, you know his original Wikipedia was written
I believe
by him,
it.
right?
I 100% believe that.
Dude, and that reminds me, that's how I got his original gaming videos. You remember his Xboxes were all customized, and like started that wave of wanting like a custom.
And he did like
Xbox.
that whole SODMG gaming and all that. And yeah, I remember his review of Braid was just it was so funny but so bad.
Dude, that's kind of like what the era I want back. Just like the funny, like amateur clumsiness. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like everyone's like so like professionally produced these days.
Do you ever think though to yourself how far ahead of the game you could be if you go back to that time frame? Let's say we take you back to 2007 right now, and you upload videos and attack social media with the stuff and the production that you have now.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's so crazy to think about if you were just to rewind it. Like, you could you could kill the internet.
Dude, I still think I still get flashbacks of this sometimes. Do you remember and FMT equals 18?
Yes, I do. That was the bootleg high definition.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, so back in the day, like, you couldn't choose your resolutions on YouTube. So I think videos would either they would downsample to 144p or 240p, regardless of what you uploaded. But there was a guy who ended up finding a way to have higher quality videos show on YouTube. And it was just take the video link and at the very end type in the ampersand sign FMT equals 18, and you would get a high quality version of the video. And it was then it was discovered too that like YouTube just kept, they did reprocess your video file you gave them, but they kept all those original videos.
Dude, right? They had a bunch of reprocessed ones as well, just on the side for just like doing whatever they want with this. It's like, okay, like what are y'all actually doing with this?
Just like when 60 frames a second rolled out on YouTube, now all of a sudden that's how, like if you go back and look, you're gonna see all these like 720p videos from 2008, 2009 at 60 frames a second, because people would upload the videos at 60 frames, they would downsample to 720p 30, whatever was available at the time, but those original videos were still sitting somewhere.
I've seen on YouTube recently, lately, they've been experimenting with this. The 4x3 videos will have like their own just 4x3
yes,
player
I love that.
now. I find that really awesome because it gets rid of those ugly black bars on the side, and it's like, yes, they're doing it right finally. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh man. So this is, at least for this, I don't want this to go on all too long. This has been really fun on here, but I have one more topic I kind of want to cover here, and then we can wrap up. But Max, if you are playing anything, what games are you currently playing right now?
Honestly, I'm just keeping it simple. I am playing Grand Theft Auto 5 on the computer. I enjoy this game so much with how often Rockstar updates.
So you're playing GTA Online on that then? Okay.
Yes, it is my favorite game in a minute. It is still entertaining to me 5 years later after the original release. All the updates they're constantly giving you, everything you can do online. Like just a year ago, like the yacht update, like dude, that was game changing in itself. They're giving you a literal yacht you can go buy for your character online. A yacht. Do you hear me?
A yacht.
And it's just like, dude, on top of that now you have flying cars that you can buy. You have warehouses that you can buy. And it's just like, dude, Rockstar seriously murdered it with that game. Like, I love GTA 5 to the maximum. Like, it is my favorite all-time game.
I need to replay it. I beat it once on 360, and then I played through a bit on PC, and I played through about half it on PS4 for the first-person mode on there, because I got the PS4 version before the PC one. But I remember I played the first person version for like 2 hours straight, and I was with my friend, and then we decided to go get food. I got behind the wheel and I felt so uncomfortable because I'd just been driving and mucking around doing all this just ratchet shit in first person, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable driving right now. This is too much.
It's too much. Yeah, I feel you on that. One of the things that Rockstar also brought to the computer recently was like, beforehand, all your game data was saved locally to your computer. So, like, if you reformatted, like, you lose all your campaign progress and whatnot. But, like, recently they introduced cloud. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at. Like, your save data will just transfer to wherever you're at. And it's just like, dude, that is so awesome. Like,
that is about...
Rockstar keeps
they can afford to do that shit, so good.
That's what I'm saying, dude. They stay killing it. It's like the next GTA they release. Like, I have no idea.
Are you gonna be? I mean, it's not on PC. It's gonna be a while since we see it on PC. But are you gonna be picking up a system for Red Dead 2?
I'm eventually gonna be picking up a console soon. I don't know which one to pick up. Like, I miss the old 360 days, but I know if I pick up a 360 specifically, it's just going to be like a ghost town.
Well, you got to remember, Red Dead 2 is going to be on Xbox One and PS4, and the Xbox One is nothing like the 360.
That's what I'm saying. It's like such a big mind. I'm gonna have to. I've been
real happy on the PS4. Granted, I mean, fidelity-wise and such, the game will look and perhaps even perform better on the Xbox One. The thing is, though, I just rock with the ecosystem on PS4 so much more. And it's more of like, you get out of the systems here, I mean, PS4 versus Xbox One, you get a lot more of that simple turn on system, get me into menu, get into game.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people enjoying PS4 more just for that versus the Xbox One. In fact, a lot of social media clowning online, like on Twitter and Instagram, it's like, oh, you didn't buy him a PS4. Like, it's like, the biggest joke of all. Like, if you have an Xbox One, like, I can understand, but like, I don't know what to pick up. You tell me what I should get.
I've been very happy with the PS4. That's been, aside from like my primary system now has been the Switch, but to get, you know, those big exclusives, I would go PS4.
All right.
That's just me though.
How's the online?
Online's
PS4?
great.
Is it comparable to like the 360 party days?
Yeah, I would say so. Especially
right.
because I mean, the XMB is just so nice compared to the Xbox One. Max, I hate the Xbox One's interface. I hate it. I fucking hate it.
I can tell, dude. I can tell. I see my brother's Xbox One. It's just like so clunky looking, dude.
Oh man.
I don't like the interface that much. I want that imperfect like dashboard that we had from back in the day. Microsoft, if you were listening, we like those ratchet dashboards. They are fun.
Well, except the Kinect one. The Kinect one was like way too white and bright for me.
I don't care. Give me that ratchet. Man. I want it back. I don't need that.
Oh man.
I want it back. That works. It was fun. I like imperfect because it's perfect.
Oh man. So it's just been GTA for you?
Yeah, pretty much that and Call of Duty 4 if I ever get the chance online.
Yeah, Call of Duty 4 is still the best one.
Yes, it is a very solid choice. Either you're killing people in cars or you're killing people's airstrikes.
Yeah, for me, I've been I've had Switch issues out the bando, unfortunately. Like, just I fucking love the Switch. It's my favorite system this gen, but goddamn, I've had to RMA the console itself 4 times at this point. Yeah, I have. I do have a video coming out of that, and yeah, it's especially annoying because, like, again, I bought the system. Like, I didn't buy the system to send off. I bought it to actually play. I have games that I'm buying. I'm supporting this thing, and every time I have to send this out, I'm gone without it for 2 or 3 weeks. So, I kind of let's see. I was playing Luxor on the PSP just because that's a fun, like, just mindless puzzle game. I picked up. Finally decided to play Oddworld Munch's Odyssey on Vita. So I was doing all that while the Switch was, you know, getting fixed up. And it's a fun game. I originally played it on the Xbox. The port is not very good, though, unfortunately. There's just a lot of sound issues, performance drops, all that stuff. But when I got the Switch back here, the game that I've primarily been playing that I'm now continuing again has been South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Now, have you played the South Park games at all? I'll tell you this. All right. So, well, first off, are you a fan of the show? Okay.
Yes.
Right before you called me. Actually, you called me while I was playing through this level. I ended up meeting Seaman, and Seaman took me down to meet the gay fish, which was Kanye West, and I had to help his mother get to heaven, who was a black other fish who was riding on a unicorn, and you have to control the unicorn in a Flappy Bird type game that is farting out rainbows. And then you end up having to fight some kind of demon type thing that represents all the main tweets that the gay fish gets.
Oh,
it's amazing.
God, what the hell?
And they did the Kanye voice and everything. They did.
No, they didn't.
I'm not lying, man.
I'm telling
you, dude. It's so good. I highly recommend picking it up. It's just like you'll just be rolling laughing.
My poor Kanye. They really gonna do him like that?
They did him like that. They just put him back into the game. The thing that I found to be so funny was when they announced the game at E3 like years ago, because that's when Kanye, and nothing ever came of this, but Kanye announced the game of his mom. Like, he was making I think only one, and it was supposed to be a game about sending his mom to heaven. And like, Matt and Trey came out onto the stage, and they're just like, yeah, we have a game in development where you play as a gay fish, and you have to help that gay fish's mom get into heaven. And they put it into the game itself, which is why I was laughing so hard. Oh man,
I'm telling Kanye about this. Hopefully he doesn't know.
I don't know if he knows.
Oh, he'll know by the end of the week. He ain't gonna be happy.
Well, he's had a long time to be happy or unhappy about it. The game's been out for about a year.
Well, you know what? He's not gonna be happy. I'll tell you that.
Oh man.
I'll tell you that, boy. I know someone that knows him.
Oh man. No, I've had that's been my whole thing. The first one, the Stick of Truth, I thought the writing was better on it. The gameplay isn't as good just because the fighting system isn't as good, but that game legitimately made me cry because I was laughing so hard. I haven't cried at this one yet, though. I'll say that.
Well, you know what they say, my man. The more you cry, the better the game. That is true.
I do firmly believe that.
That's why when I got banned all those times, I was crying so hard. It must have been a really good game.
I totally feel that.
All right, my man. I don't want to keep running too long and everyone waiting.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Anyways, I guess wrapping up here, Lupo, thank you so much for coming out on the show. It's absolutely appreciated. And if people have made it to the end here, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at iTzLuPo. You can find me on Instagram, again, at iTzLuPo. You can add me on Snapchat, iTzLuPo. You can reach out to me through Mario.
No, don't do that. No, just reach.
No, you can reach out to me on Twitter DMs.
No, because like years ago, when people would be like, "Hey, Mario, can you tell this guy this?" I'm like, "No, tell him yourself, please."
I was just throwing a curveball at you because I've had that happen before, dude. This is the worst. But if you want to reach out to me on DMs through Twitter, they're open to anyone. And on IG, I respond to anyone. And I really thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it, and congratulations on reaching 80,000.
No problem, man. I thank you very much. It's been appreciated, and it's been fun doing this. So if you're, I don't know how much time you have, but after this here, after we get off this, I do want to.
We'll have to make this a yearly thing.
I do want to run some things by and talk to you about a few things, but off the podcast on here. So stay on the line if you could. Yeah.
All right, so I think that wraps that up. I thank you everyone for listening, and you all have a good one.
Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for listening and watching, everyone. If you have not subscribed on your favorite podcast app, please do so. That would be much appreciated. And of course, you can find this on the YouTube channel, Mr. Mario 2011 as well. I'm on most other social medias, and everything will be linked down below in the description. So again, I want to say thank you to our guest, iTzLuPo, for coming on. And until next month, I will talk to you all later.